Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Welcome back to the show. We are so excited to have our author, Samuel Thomas, joining us today. Mr. Teniz, he's better known as. And thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Oh, doing fine, Jill. Thanks very much for having me on your show as well. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Well, first and foremost, congratulations on all your success. And I want to start out by telling people to go to your website. And it's spelled mytuner-radio.com. That's right. We're talking about the tennis adventures of Mr. Teniz, the graphic novel series, and so much more. Please introduce yourself to our listeners today.
Sure. Yeah. Hi, my name is Samuel, and I'm the author to Mr. Teniz graphic novels. It's one of its kind and the first in the world, actually, where tennis graphic novels was introduced for the sport of tennis.
Beautiful. And where do you hail from?
Oh, I'm in Philadelphia. I'm in the suburbs, actually, in Bryn Mawr, Philadelphia.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we're going to find out more about the novels, your books, but and the company, of course, but I want to find out more about you before we begin. Tell us where you grew up, and I want to know about this love of tennis. Give us your backstory.
Sure. Yeah, I'm actually from Sri Lanka. Now, Sri Lanka is a small island off the coast of India, actually. It's an island in the Indian Ocean. That's where I grew up. But fell in love with tennis, and of course, tennis is a global sport. Traveled a lot through tennis, and ended up in the Middle East, and then in the States as well. Did my higher education in tennis. It was tennis technology in my university in Texas, and it was tennis all the way. So, and then that from coaching internationally, and also here domestically, to running tennis facilities, and eventually ended up in writing tennis. That's one of my things, and I'm also working for the University of Pennsylvania as well, in the hospital side in administrations.
Amazing. Well, thank you for sharing all this. So let me ask, you mentioned at a very young age the sport of tennis. Who introduced it to you, by the way?
I'm sorry, I didn't get you there.
Oh, who introduced you to the sport of tennis?
Oh, so actually, our family, all of us played. When I say all of us, my dad was the key player who used to play on the tennis courts. He was kind of the John McEnroe there, a loud character there. I was very young, and I knew him only for 8 years before I lost him. So, but that was the start, and then my brother was into it. And before I got into tennis, I was actually more into cricket. That's a much more of a European sport. I don't know. I don't think many Americans know that. And from cricket, I just branched out to tennis because I figured out that I was more of an independent kind of a guy, individual sport, meaning not a team sport. I mean, I can play the team sport. I find it boring. But tennis was, it hit. So we connected. We fell in love, tennis and me.
Oh, well, thank you for being here. We're excited to hear more about you and how this all, came about. Can I just ask a little about your mentors growing up? I know your father especially, right? Tell me a little bit about the family influence and your friends.
Sure, yeah. Well, my dad, that is a starting there. I watched him play some tennis. Not very vaguely, actually. I just remember him. I used to be near the tennis courts, and he used to be playing around. And that was about it, actually, from him. Then I lost him. And then my mother, I lost her at the age of 20. But she was not a tennis player, but she had a different, she was great in creating things and choosing good, children's books. She was good at all that, writing stories. So that's where that part of it came into my life, is what I'm guessing, because she introduced me, like in the newspapers, you get all these children's page where you have all these competitions where kids, write stories and all that stuff, where you get prizes for it. And my mom used to always make me write into it. I get into these competitions, and she used to make me write about Robinson Crusoe and all of them. These are all these stories from the British, tale stories and all that. So she used to make me write. Of course, she's the one doing most of the writing and all that. But, it was introducing it into my life, actually. Then, and I used to win prizes because of her. And then moving and traveling through the world, then I lost her. And then traveling through the world, different stages in my life brought me into contact with very important people. When I say important people, I mean there'll be always one person in your travels that actually becomes your mentor. I mean, the person you can rely on, and the person you can learn something. I was actually blessed to have those kind of friends. So different locations brought me different friends, and each of them happened to teach me valuable things in life. For one was finance or stability or how to get through life and so on. And in the States, I had two friends, actually, very fortunate, very successful business guys. And one was an entrepreneur. So I think that part of it came into my life because of him.
Mm-hmm.
So different people, different stages in life, and different mentors. That's how it actually worked out.
Beautiful. Well, we're excited you're here and want to talk now, of course, about the uniqueness of your company, the vision of the company, the hard work behind it all, too. So give us, definitely looking forward to this and want to hear about all these novels.
Sure. The tennis company actually started off when when you do a lot of travel in tennis, I was just one of those guys who was trying to look outside the box. So what I meant by that was, you get into coaching, club manager of a club and all that kind of stuff. I mean, everyone does that, been there, done that. I want to do something more, but too old to be a good player and all that stuff. So I designed a product, actually, to help coaches teach the sport much more easily and for students to learn it. This small device attaches to the racket, and then I try to get a patent on it, which I failed. But I had to create a company because I was chasing a patent on that product. So I had to register in Pennsylvania,
Mm-hmm.
a company, and that's how Mr. Teniz came about. But after that, I said, okay, I failed there, but the company's there. I mean, so I put all my tennis knowledge together, and I said, let me just write a book, just a technical side of the game, how to play the sport, how to learn it. Very simple for kids, a lot of graphics on that. So that was the trigger, actually, that basic book where when I started to write it, I had to assemble a team. I had to go find the graphic, illustrator. And in Philadelphia, I went down to the Art Institute of Philadelphia, searched for a student, and, I didn't have a lot of money. So you got to watch your budgets here. And so you're trying to hire someone. I knew, he or she whom I'm hiring was also looking for an opportunity to actually expose their talents out there. So it was a two-way thing. So that that was a success, meaning I was able to get that going from illustrations to copy editing to printing and finding the money to do this. And the interesting thing was somebody came and told me, Sam, I'm sure you'll want to write more in time to come. I said, there's nothing more to write in tennis. And that's where graphic novels came into the picture because I was a fan of Tintin comics. It's an European comic. It's a very popular comic in Brussels, in Europe. If you say Tintin comics. So that was an adventure story about a reporter traveling around the world. So I said, what if I had 5 tennis players traveling around the world and they fall into the darker sides of tennis, and I can create these stories, these amazing stories. And that's how Mr. Teniz, from this product of trying to get an invention on a product, turned to becoming a company for books and comics. That's how it all came about.
Wow. All right. Thank you so much for sharing this. And I love the backstory of all this and the vision. How long have you been working on this, by the way? I forgot. When did you start writing the first book?
Yeah. Sure. It was about 6 years back, just a few years before COVID, and then this idea hit me. And now, if I'd ever told my mom I was going to be a writer one day, they would have had the biggest laugh in town. They said, this guy has no way going to be a writer. But it's amazing. You get down. I said, okay, let me try and do these stories. I had no idea how to do it. And I used to take the train from my suburbs down to Philadelphia, a 4:50 train in the morning. I used to be downtown at 5:30. I used to go to Starbucks and start writing and just trying to figure things out before I head to work at 7 o'clock. So I had this hour and a half or so to start and get it going. Let's see what happens. Like, so that's how it all started going. And it kind of fell into place. I mean, it was like I said, hey, I didn't know I could do this. And sure enough, when you write one, say, hey, I think I can do that. Let me write more.
Oh, my goodness. Well, let's break them down. Do you mind sharing? I'm on the website. I'm taking a look. There's so many. There's a new arrival even. Tell us, give us a little bit of the background, of Mr. Teniz. I want to hear the whole story. And just to let you know, there's amazing, people have been talking about this. Ian Young says, a brilliant book for tennis kids, a first ever graphic novel series in the sport as well. Simply brilliant. A must read for sure. Then there's Evelyn from Philadelphia says, the illustrations are both modern, humorous, and relevant to today and tennis. The writer covers many subjects, and the story plot is a page-turner. Colorful illustrations and a great graphic novel for both teens and adults. Someone else says, just fantastic. I couldn't put the book down.
Well, yeah, I mean, so now here you go. If you go into the Tintin comics, which I was talking to you about from Europe, I mean, you get all these, all the adventure stories, and the guy goes from he's even on the moon. I mean, he's on this rocket to the moon, and how he goes there, he says, even before the Soviets and America are on the moon, this guy was already on the moon. So his imagination running wild. So here you go. I said, match fixing, which was my first book. I said, I grabbed that title. I said, it might not be the right title for kids, but I said kids go and then they'll remember it. But I wanted to grab that title, match fixing, because match fixing is seen in tennis today. It's there. So I said, let me make a story out of it. But I wanted the title, and a lot of people said, don't take the title, change it because it's kids. I said, no, I want that because I want to grab that title for this book because I didn't want anyone else to have it. So that is the first one. It's about these. So there are these 4 tennis players who travel the world, and so one of these guys, he qualifies for this big tournament for the big event, and then the next thing you know is somebody has paid their way through, and this guy gets thrown out of the draw, and then the guy who pays his way through, makes it into the event. So the other guys get to the bottom of it. That's how the adventure starts. The other tennis players, his buddies, get into it, and they solve the issue. They get to the bottom of it, and it's solved. So that's one of the stories. That's match fixing right there. That's the first book.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the second book is Pirate Strike at Tennis. So Pirate Strike at Tennis is about, I once worked in the Maldives Islands, so now I didn't put the Maldives Islands directly into the books because I just wanted to make a different name to it, and I didn't want to say anything wrong about the country and all that. But that was where it went. So I put these islands in the Pacific somewhere there, give it a funny name, and I said, okay, they're trying to start tennis. And here I am, I'm going down there to help them with their tennis. And while doing that, all these new equipment that's coming in are getting stolen. I mean, not all of them, but some of them. And they are being transferred to a different location, to a different country, and sold out. So I said, so the smuggling thing becomes the Pirate Strike at Tennis thing. So where these 4 or 5 guys get to the bottom of it and find the crooks and, solve the problem. So that's book number 2 there.
Okay.
Book number 3 is Train 503. Train 503 is about a big tennis event in Philadelphia. And just before the event starts, the bad guys, they sabotage the tennis balls for the event. Here you go, the last minute, 11th hour, we need a huge stock of tennis balls for the event. And they're able to get it from San Francisco, and this big company is shipping these tennis balls from San Francisco to Philadelphia on a train. But they know these bad guys are trying to do whatever they can to knock it off, so the tennis balls don't get to the Philadelphia event. So, again, these 4 guys are on this train making sure these tennis balls get there. And, there's so many things go on in that whole story where the guys are trying to knock it off, but these guys somehow hold it and bring the train into Philadelphia for the event just in time for it. And, of course, the 4th book, which is still not out, it's called Racketeering, which is, again, a bunch of bad guys. There's this huge theft going on in all these tennis events where guys go around and they're stealing tennis. So, again, there's 4 or 5 guys, they're called into it because now they're becoming pretty popular in solving issues. So here you are, they've been called in and said, hey, we need you guys to get to the bottom of this and find out who the bad guys are. And there you go.
Wow. Now, hold on. How do you come up with all of this? What's in your mind? I mean, and I do love the illustrations. Who's drawing all this?
Well, I mean, the mind is amazing. If you let the mind just let it wander. I mean, like they say, authors, get to a corner and just, start dreaming. I mean, don't let anything disturb you, and it's amazing where the mind goes. So like I was mentioning the other day, you could even put tennis on the moon. I mean, even if nobody's there, hey, there's a tennis event on the moon, and here we are all going down to the moon for a tennis event. I mean, who's to stop you from making a story like that? So if you let the mind wander, you can come out with crazy and really fascinating stories.
Wow. Well, I love it. Let's just, at this time, we got to take a quick commercial break. Remind us of all the ways we can reach out to you. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. You can reach out. I mean, I have a website. It's www.mrteniz.com. That's MRTENIZ.com. You can also reach me on my Facebook, Mr. Teniz, and also on my email, which is mrteniz@yahoo.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right, everyone, stay tuned. We'll be right back after this quick break. Please stay with us.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free Fix Finder service can read your check engine light, ABS light, and service indicator light, and give you possible solutions, verified by licensed technicians. You'll even get detailed results sent straight to your email so you have them when you need it most. It's the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes. The free Fix Finder service, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
More details at AutoZone.com.
If you are the new parent of a baby out of wedlock, you're probably freaking the heck out. We remember how stressful it was when we had unexpected children with people we did not want to marry. After spending tens of thousands on legal battles that dragged on for years, eventually we learned the hard way what works and what doesn't in the real world. I'm Jim Braz, co-author of the award-winning book, Baby Out of Wedlock. We help unmarried mothers and fathers get their questions answered, improve co-parenting relationships, and avoid nasty legal battles that cost a fortune. Go to babyoutofwedlock.com to learn more.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. The IRS just rolled out a new program to help struggling taxpayers more easily resolve their tax problems. It's called the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, and it opens up powerful new options for people looking to get back on the right track with the IRS. And no one knows this program like the professionals at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution company. They've resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients and have the expertise and experience to help you. One easy call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries of wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Make today the beginning of your fresh start with the IRS. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief now for your free confidential consultation.
Call 800-386-9945. 800-386-9945. 800-386-9945.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Mortgage and Rocket Companies. Last year, we saw historically low mortgage interest rates. What you may not know is that interest rates are already starting to increase, and it's likely that trend is only going to continue. Our team of experts is standing by to help you save before rates go up. Don't look back and wish that you had taken action. Call 833-8ROCKET or visit rocketmortgage.com. Rocket.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back. We are joined by Mr. Teniz. Excited that he's here. This author is amazing and his work amazing. Go to mrteniz.com. That's MRTENIZ. And we are here talking about the amazing graphic novel series and excited. He's talking about all his books, and we're going to talk more about match fixing, Pirate Strike at Tennis. I want to hear about that one and what's coming soon. Fill us in.
And I'm of course trying to write more books as time goes by. But I'm hoping I could actually take the tennis graphic novels and maybe in today's world, if I have the finances to do it, to turn them into a mini, movie book. Like, I know we are in a digital world today. So a lot of kids like to read, and of course I know there are a lot of kids that don't like to read and maybe watch it quickly. So if I could convert these books into something of that sort, like a quick movie book, that would be one of the things I would try and do out there. The second one is I'm just actually trying to see if I can bring out or introduce a mini digest for younger kids, where it's quick stories. For quick stories, meaning it might be a page or two, like the Archie comics, the good old days, something on those lines. And that'll be a digest might have like 20 small stories for a quick read and a quick laugh. So something on those lines.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. What else do you want to share with us today?
Sure. I mean, the only other thing is, I'm not with a publisher or anything like that, but if there's any sporting company out there or a sporting investor who likes to be a part of my ride here, I'll be happy to go along with them someday.
Do you have a favorite work? Do you ever have favorites, or you can't?
Favorites meaning?
Well, out of your reads, is there anyone that can you always top one, or do you have a favorite, like you're more connected to the first one?
No. I mean, I kind of like them all because actually, I kind of like them all actually. Yeah, nothing in particular, but yeah, all of them.
My goodness,
are so good.
Well, what else? For today, we're excited that you're here as an author promoting a work. Where can we find all the work as well?
It's on mytuner-radio.com, www.mytuner-radio.com. That's the website. And you can drop me an email anytime. That's on mytuner@yahoo.com as well. And also be on the Facebook as well.
Oh, my goodness. So what would you say? What's happening next?
Well, keep trying to introduce book number 3, which is Train 503, and Racketeering, book number 4. The book number 4 is still they're still doing the illustrations for it, and it's going to take some time. But Train 503, the third graphic novel, should be out in another maybe 3 months or so.
Oh, my goodness. And tell me, the mind of an author, does it ever rest?
No, well, I'm not a full-time author, so I'm juggling between 2-3 things. But the mind is always there because that's where the passion is. That's what gives me life for the day. So if I don't come up with the scripts by the end of the week, my team, the illustrator team, usually nudges me and says, "Hey, what are the scripts?" So they keep me on check. So it keeps me going. So it keeps my mind rolling. And when you say rest, it's not that I'm writing every day, but here and there. But as long as there's progress in a week or within 2 weeks, then I'm a pretty happy guy.
Beautiful. All right. Well, remind us how we can reach out to you, get a copy of some of these graphic novel series from Mr. Teniz. I love it. I love it. Samuel Thomas, so excited that he's here talking to us about all the work he's doing and, just the inspiration behind his work. And really, you mentioned that you don't think you've reached your dream yet. However, life is a journey. In order to make the best of it, you have a dream of being what you want to be and chase it, or else life becomes meaningless and boring. Once successful, live simple and give back in life. Beautiful quote. One more time, tell us how we can contact you.
Through email, mytuner-radio@yahoo.com. They can even call me at 484-433-6145. Those are the 2 best ways, actually.
All right. Thanks so much for being here, for joining us, and hopefully we'll connect again soon. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Thanks for having me on your show.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting. I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.